What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another NFL preview, division preview. This time we are going up north to the AFC North, man. That rough, tough division, man. You already know they get it in over there, man. It is ground and pound and tough, physical, hard-nosed football, man. And hey, got some contenders in this division too, as well. You know, you're talking about the Baltimore Ravens, of course, perennial contenders. Pittsburgh Steelers, who almost never have a losing record, and the Cincinnati Bengals with all that firepower over there. And some may argue they got the best offense and best quarterback in the division, and that's Joe Burrow. And then you got the Browns, and the Browns are always going to give you a fight, so you can't just stick your nose up at those cats. But we're going to get into all that. We're going to see what they did last year. We're going to see what they're going to do coming up this year and all the moves they made. And we're going to give you some predictions like we always do. So please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button for myself and Popular Opinion Sports and my co-host here, Big Pat Sports Talk. We are the Aboriginal Sports Network. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that join button, man. We about to get it in. But before I do, Pat, what are your thoughts on this division as a whole, man, before we start the show?
Yeah, man, this division, you always know, this is one of those black and blue divisions, man. They always go at each other. Even the Browns get a couple of victories in that division here or there. But the story is, what are the Ravens going to do after losing John Harbaugh to that team in the background? Steelers with the new head coach, Mike McCarthy. The Bengals, can they actually get back into the playoffs with Joe Cool and the Browns? Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson. What's going on over there with the Cleveland Browns? Hey, stick around. We're going to tell you what's up with this division, man. And we are going to preview the AFC North, man, right here on the Aboriginal Sports Network.
All right, man. Let's get to it. You know what to do.
Yes, sir.
Ricey K, the Raisin Man.
All right, man. We are coming right back here, and we're going to start this thing off with the division winners, and that was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers winning the division last year at 10-7, and there was a lot of, things with Aaron Rodgers and he's always in the news, in the spotlight. So, but overall as a team, they did not have the success that they probably would have liked to. Of course, losing that. I mean, they got beat down in that wild card game to the Texans. That defense just did a number on those cats. And the major thing here, and the screen doesn't show it, but Mike Tomlin's not there. Mike Tomlin's not there, and you get a new head coach. So, that 8-8 marker kind of changes now a little bit, man, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. But 10-7 last year, won the AFC North. AFC North was down, I believe, a little bit last year due to injuries to some of the other players on the other teams. Because the Pittsburgh Steelers did not knock your socks off in any category, Pat. They were 26 in offense, 26 in defense, but 15th in points per game. they had a couple of injuries last year. You see them on the screen, Deshaun Elliott, Kelvin Beachum. But that 10-7 mark, I think, is where we have to start, man. And to get 10 wins on a team that I don't think was really that great of a team, to be honest with you. And I ain't a big numbers guy, but the numbers kind of say it. What was your thoughts on the Steelers last year, Pat? Because I think they overachieved, is what I'm saying in a roundabout way. I think they overachieved, and they're bringing back Rodgers, getting a new head coach. So we're going to talk about some more moves they made a little bit later. But what are your thoughts on what they did last year and that beatdown they got to the Texans? Eesh.
Yeah, that Texas game was weird, man, because it was super close, and then in like 2 minutes it ballooned from like 9-6 to 30-6. It was crazy. Like that defense went ham with the Texans. But overall last year, I think the Steelers overachieved last year. That was not a roster or a team that you felt that was a competitor. And unlike the guy like Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers back together again, that's pretty cool. They in black and gold this time instead of green and gold. But
Right.
I think that man Mike Tomlin, man, is one heck of a coach, man, because he gets the best out of any team that he actually has. And I believe his coaching style allowed those guys to become the AFC North champions last year. The missed field goal by Justin Tucker that got them in there. But I just think this team, they're trying to find their way. They got old man Rodgers with the Steelers last year. Didn't have his best season. Looked like he was a shell of himself in a couple of games, and then he'd turn it up. It was just weird with the Steelers last year. They won some games that you think they shouldn't have won, and then they lost some games that you think they should have won. So last year, it was just a grit season for them last year. And shout out to them for winning the AFC North the way that they did. But I really think this team overachieved last year, just to put it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you, man. So they decided to run it back with Aaron, but let's see what else they did, man, because this team definitely has room to improve. Looking at their ranks, so let's get to their offseason. And looking at the offseason here, of course, bringing back Aaron Rodgers. Now, they made a big move going out and getting Michael Pittman Jr. Via trade, give him a big 3-year contract, bringing in Rico Dwaddle, Jamal Dean, Brock Huff, Sebastian Joseph Day, Jaquan Brisker. So they did some things in the offseason, but to me, the biggest one, or the biggest two, I should say, is bringing back Rodgers and hiring Mike McCarthy as head coach. Personally, I'm not the biggest McCarthy fan, but I think he can definitely stabilize them. But what are you going to get from Rodgers, man? That's my biggest question, man. But what do you think about the free agent additions, man? Michael Pittman Jr. move is pretty good, too. I ain't going to front.
Yeah, I love what they did this offseason. I think they are a way better team on offense than they were last season. Remember, you still got DK Metcalf there. You brought back a leader in Aaron Rodgers. I think his second year in Pittsburgh, he'll get a little better. Michael Pittman Jr. with DK Metcalf, and you signed Rico Dwaddle that went off with the Carolina Panthers last year. So he's going to be probably the number one back, or definitely a very good running back coming off the bench for you. The rookie that they drafted from Iowa has not turned out to be what they thought he would be, so they went and got Rico Dwaddle. But the defensive addition, Sebastian Joseph Day, very good addition to that defensive line. They go with old man Hayward. Jaquan Brisker as a safety. Could play back there as safety, very good safety. And Jamel Dean, a very good corner to play opposite of Joey Porter. Like, they did some moves. They silently made a heck of a free agent additions and trades this year, man. I like what they did, bro. I think they got a lot better. Seriously.
Yeah, I like the Pittman move because now you don't have DK being double covered all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they added a receiver in the draft too. We're going to talk about. So I do think their offense should be a lot better. To me, with the Steelers is like I said, is what are you going to get from what is Rodgers 43 now?
I think Rodgers is 41 or 42.
I mean, yeah, he played like he was 53. I mean, but like that's my thing, and Mike McCarthy's offense. What are you going to get from him in year one in a new system? So, but talent-wise on offense, I think they do have enough talent. Now, they did lose John O. Smith, it says there, and Calvin Anderson. So, I mean, don't think they lost a lot. They also lost Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, he went to the
Jets.
The Jets, yeah.
Yeah. So that was not listed here, but just want to throw that out there. So I think that those losses right there, though, I think they can sustain those losses, but so not a lot to talk about there, but let's look at what they did in the draft here. And I think there we go. I think a lot of what is going to help this Steelers team is what they're going to get out this draft class because they had a lot of picks. Mm-hmm. So you start off with the old tackle Max. I can't pronounce his last name, but you get him at 21. Then you get Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver, who we like in round 2. Drew Aller, you get him as a developmental quarterback. You need somebody in that room. You need to keep adding there because you don't have anything of the future at that spot. It ain't Aaron Rodgers. But then they get Dylan Everett, cornerback, Jennings Duncans. I mean, I like this draft class, bro. I mean, I'm going to let you go into it. I know you know a lot about these prospects, but I think they did help themselves tremendously with this draft. And if they can get some of these players to fill some of these spots, because the Steelers are an aging team. So if you can get some of these players to kind of fill some of these spots as some of these players age, retire, and move on, I think they'll continue being the Pittsburgh Steelers. But what are your thoughts on the draft class, Pat?
I love this draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers because it actually accommodates what they did in free agency. Max, I'm going to try to say Anacker. He could play left or right tackle, depending on what they want to do with the big guy that they have. I think he's like 6'8" or 6'9", Jones, I believe. Then you get Jeremy Bernard to pair with DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman Jr., and Bernard is a big slot receiver. He can play outside or inside, and he is a monster after the catch. I love that pick. That's my favorite pick for them. And I think Drew Aller can learn a lot from Aaron Rodgers. I think Drew Aller can learn arm angles and learn how to control that arm that he has with Aaron Rodgers being there. If Aaron Rodgers decides to be, a mentor, that's up in the air. You know how Aaron Rodgers is. So,
yeah, he ain't finna do that.
Well, we'll see. He's older now. When you get older, you get a little bit wiser. So who knows?
True.
I love Dalen Everett at the cornerback position. Another guy that could come in and be some very great depth behind Jamel Dean and Joey Porter Jr. We both know about Jennings Dunker. We did major research on him. They got him in the 3rd round, which we said that he would go. They got a fullback in Nowakowski, a very good fullback.
Yeah, I like
and the
that.
guy that's going to go under the radar for them, that 7th round pick, Mr. Eli Heidenreich. He's going to be a weapon for them.
Yeah.
Eli Heidenreich is like a poor man's Christian McCaffrey when you're out there. If you go watch him from Navy, that's one of
That's the guy from Navy. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
That's the guy from Navy.
Yep.
And he will be a great 3rd down back for this team and a guy that you could put in certain areas to where you could get mismatches. So look for Eli Heidenreich to make his name known over there with the Steelers, man. He's definitely a guy. He's a 7th round pick, but he will be valuable to that team. I think they did a hell of a job, bro, this offseason. I see nothing wrong that they did, and I think they got a lot better. A lot better.
Yeah, of course, a lot is going to depend on their defense, health, and different things like that. But let's see their projection here going into the next this coming up season here. So now 10.5, that's the mark right now. They predicting 10-7, which would be under. And I think that's where I'm leaning. Biggest strength, defense and veteran leadership. I would agree. Biggest weakness, offensive consistency. That's where coaching and Aaron Rodgers comes into effect, which is what I also said. Need more explosive plays. New pieces must mesh quickly. They're going to be competitive. They're going to be right there. So I don't have no doubts about that. Now, over 10.5. I don't know about that. Depends on how you think they feel, how you feel about them in this division. Outside of this division, they don't have a terrible schedule. You get the Falcons starting off. You get the Patriots, Bengals, Browns, Colts, Bucks, Saints, Browns, Bengals, Eagles, Broncos. Then you get Houston, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Carolina, Tennessee, Baltimore. So depends on how you feel about them in this division. If you think they can go 3-3 in this division or 4-2 or something like that, then you might go over. Me, myself, I'm going right under. I'm saying around that 9-10 win mark for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is where they usually are. And I think they maintain that because they didn't lose anything major other than Mike Tomlin, which I think is major. But they didn't add, anything spectacular to where you're like, wow, that's going to put them up in the upper echelon of the AFC type shit. So I'm going right under, 9-10 wins for the Steelers. So I'll take the under. What about you?
I'm actually going to take the over. I think they get 11 wins. I think they finish 11-6 or a little bit better. And reason why, because I think that offense will be unlocked with the Steelers team this year with Mike McCarthy. He's going to allow Aaron Rodgers to do Aaron Rodgers things, and now he has weapons to back him up. You got Frymu, you got DK Metcalf, you got Michael Pittman, you got Jeremy Bernard, Heidenreich, bevy other receivers that they had last year. Steelers always stack receivers. And the thing that's going to push them over is that defense is going to get back to form with TJ Watt being healthy. And as long as that defense plays the way that they normally play, I don't see too many teams bullying these dudes because I think Aaron Rodgers will be unleashed this year. I think this is going to be his final hoorah, and he has his coach back that allows him to do what he wants to do. Not saying that Mike Tomlin was holding Rodgers back, but I think the style of offense that they played last year was holding Rodgers back from making some of those amazing throws because he still has that arm. I don't like him at all, but that's still one hell of a talent, man. One of the best talents you'll ever see put on the uniform. And I think he goes out on his sword. I think he balls out this year, and I think they go 11-6. I truly believe that.
Okay. 11-6. I'm gonna go the other way. I do think they're competitive, but I don't think they're gonna be an upper echelon type of team like that. And I'm not even sure if they are even like that in their division. But we're gonna see, because we're gonna come right back here with the next one, man. Let's get it.
All right, be right back.
All right, we are back, man. Up next here, we got the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Baltimore was a disappointing team last year, only 8-9, missed the playoffs. Offense was not great, 16th, middle of the pack. They did average 24.9 points per game, 11th, but their defense only 24th in the league. So injuries, yeah, they had a couple. Lamar, of course, Matabuke, season-ending neck injury. Roquan Smith and Marlon Humphrey also banged up last year. And yeah, can this Ravens team, man, they got high expectations in Baltimore, with Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh out, and Jesse Minter in. So last year didn't go good, and I guess they kind of put that on John Harbaugh because he was let go, and that was surprised a lot of people. A lot of people were surprised at the firing of John Harbaugh, but they wanted to go in a different direction, and they wanted to bring in a coach to try to get them over the hump. And there's a lot of pressure now on Lamar Jackson because it ain't nothing else in your way now, And if this the coach you wanted, which reports was he did, then all right, let's get to it. 8-9 is not going to cut it in Baltimore. I'll tell you that right now. But what are your thoughts about what they did last year, Pat, and the season that they had? And we'll talk about what they're going to do moving forward.
Season that they had last year, man, is one word, man: disappointing. These are perennial Super Bowl contenders with that man that you see on the screen with Lamar Jackson, and they got to get it done, man. This guy Lamar Jackson, it's a lot riding on this dude, getting them over the hump and getting them that trophy, man. He's considered, if not the best player in the NFL, one of the best players in the NFL, and definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He wants to be paid like it. I think he is getting paid like it, and they just make a bunch of mistakes that they're not supposed to do. Just like last year, they should have been 9-8 and in the playoffs. Justin Tucker misses a field goal, or Henry fumbling twice against the Bills and allowing them to lose that big lead and lose that game. Lamar Jackson continuously getting hurt, getting nicks and dings here. So that window for the Ravens has been open for what, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
And they might get that window closed on them here soon.
Yeah.
Then you get rid of John Harbaugh. So you said he was a problem. So let's see what they do going forward. But last year, just to sum it up, everything just disappointing, man. They gotta get their stuff together for sure.
That is word, bro. And let's see what they did to try to get their stuff together, as they say. So, now the Ravens had an interesting offseason, just overall, because now, you see the big name Trey Hendrickson there, but they tried to go get Max Crosby, and that trade didn't go through because of a failed physical. So they end up backpedaling and bringing in Trey Hendrickson in through free agency, along with John Simpson, Jalen Hawkins, Durham Smythe, Danny Pinter, Javon Gwynn, re-signed Tyler Huntley, and Chidobe Azui. So now we're going to talk about what they lost, but before I do that, what do you think about them going and getting Trey Hendrickson, and what do you think about the trade that didn't go through with Max Crosby and some of the other free agents that they bought in, before we get to what they lost and some of the changes they made?
That whole thing with my guy from the Raiders. Oh my God, I just
Max
had
Crosby.
a brain. Yeah, Max Crosby. That was them wanting to save their draft picks, and they just picked up Trey Hendrickson, which was it's not a bad consolation prize. I don't think he's Max Crosby, but Trey Hendrickson is a very good edge rusher. But other than that, bro, they didn't really do anything. To be honest with you, for what they lost, I don't think they got better.
They didn't do anything much in free agency as far as, but that Trey Hendrickson, you know, that's an ad. That's an ad, you know what I'm saying? That's a plus. So you definitely needed to get better. You know, we talked about you know, them ranking, I think we're only 24th defensively. So, but you lose Tyler Lindenbaum, your starting center. You lose 2 tight ends, and the big one, Isaiah Likely, goes over to the Giants. Lindenbaum, of course, bolting for the Raiders. You lose your punter, who follows Harbaugh over to the Giants, along with Adarius Washington and Patrick Ricard, longtime Raven, leaving to go to the Giants. Former coach John Harbaugh purged that roster. They also lost Keaton Mitchell, Tylen Wallace, David Ajobo, and Draymond Jones. So lots of not to mention your head coach, like we talked about earlier. So it's going to be a different Baltimore Ravens team, to say the least. I think the big ones, Lindenbaum, of course, Ricard, Likely. They were big in that run game and in the pass game as well for the Ravens. But what are your thoughts on what they lost?
They lost a good Lord. They lost their head coach. They lost their leader. They lost their leader on the offensive line of Tyler Lindenbaum. They lost their most explosive tight end, Isaiah Likely. They lost their very good, reliable tight end, Charlie Kolar. They lost the best punter in the game in Jordan Stout. Thank you. Thank you for Isaiah Likely. Thank you for Jordan Stout. They lost a very good safety in Adarius Washington. Thank you. They lost Patrick Ricard, the best fullback in the game. Thank you. They lost Keaton Mitchell, their most explosive running back. They lost David Ajobo, who's very good on the defensive line, to come in and spell them. They lost one of the best defensive tackles that they had in Draymond Jones. They lost a lot. Like, they lost a core. So that man on the screen, you wanted this. You wanted to get away from Harbaugh. You wanted this. So now you're gonna have to be Superman. He's almost looking like in almost a Josh Allen type situation.
Yeah.
If you really want to put it there, there's gonna be a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson. Now, if there's a guy that can do it, it is him. He's super talented. Maybe the most talented guy in the NFL right now. But they lost a tremendous amount of core, and that is not good, man. That's not good at all.
Nah, bro. I'm not too thrilled. And you bringing in a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. I don't know. But they did get busy in the draft. 2026 draft picks. Ravens always do well in the draft. Yeah. They went and got Vega Ione, first round guard out of Penn State, who was one of my top guards in this draft, if not the top one. I think it was it was him and then CC. Zion Young, edge out of Missouri, very good edge rusher, second round pick. Watched his tape a little bit. Jacoby Lane, wide receiver out of USC. Another wide receiver, Elijah Surratt, out of Indiana. So you get 2 targets right there for Lamar Jackson, plus a guard to help protect him, because you know they lost Lindenbaum. So they're trying to replenish here in this draft. They tight end, you lose 2 tight ends, you go get Matt Hibner, tight end out of SMU. Chandler Rivers, cornerback out of Duke. They get another tight end, Jose Chavez, out of Alabama. Adam Randall, another running back they bring in out of Clemson. They go get their punter, Ryan Eckley, out of Michigan State. They get a DN, Rayshawn Benny, out of Michigan. And then another guard, Evan Bernstein, out of Northwestern. They had a massive draft, infused this team with a lot of good, young, talented players. But Pat, what are your thoughts about this draft, man? I like it.
Oh, yeah, I love the draft. Only thing I don't love about it is some of these guys are going to have to come in and be major contributors immediately in order for this team to be the team that they want to be. But Vega Ione, love that pick. Nasty guard, very nasty, and he will fit right in with the Ravens. Zion Young out of Missouri, another nice pick, could play opposite of Trey Henderson immediately. Jacoby Lane, big body receiver from USC. He's one of those guys that if you get his feet right and get him in the middle of that field to get those layered throws that Lamar Jackson likes to throw as well, he could be very good. Then you back him up with Elijah Surratt, very good veteran coming out of college. I think he was like 24, maybe on the verge of being 25. That Indiana team was old too. That's why they won. But Elijah Surratt, a very good receiver. You got to see what offensive system that they're going to run. I like Matt Hittner. He could definitely come in and play that Charlie Kolar spot opposite of the tight end that they got now, one of the best in the game. Chandler Rivers, develop him. He can turn into a decent cornerback for you. Josh Chivas, he's just a body. Now, I do love the Adam Randall pick because he's the guy that could come in and give you some of the things that Derrick Henry can give you as far as being tough between the tackles and running that ball. So they got two very tough runners on this team already with him and Randall. Randall will fit in well. And then the other guy, hopefully Ryan Eckley can come in and punt that ball for him pretty good and change field position. And Benny and Bernstein, that sounds like a lawyer company, Benny and Bernstein.
Yeah, man. Benny and Bernstein.
Right. You see what they do with those two guys at the end of the draft. But I do love their draft, but I still don't think it makes up for the departures that they got unless those guys come in and really get busy, which they can. So we'll see what they do with those picks. They had a heck of a draft, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But can they get back to what they was, and can they rebound this year in the 2026 season? Let's take a look. All right, they got them at 11.5 wins. This Baltimore Ravens team, 11.5 wins, projected to be over a 12-5 playoff team. Of course, you do have elite quarterback play, an explosive offense, defensive playmakers. Pass protection depth is a key weakness, though, and replacing the offseason departures, consistency, and I will say coaching. Coaching is going to be a big key here. Don't know what Jesse Minter is going to be like as a head coach. I did like him over there. I believe he came from the Chargers defensive coordinator. So I did like him over there. You know, the Giants were talking to him as far as bringing him in possibly as head coach. But, you know, they got the big fish and the Ravens lose the big fish. And I don't know. They might be losing some more games as well. You know, 11 Pat, bro. 11.5 wins for Baltimore team with this many questions. I don't know, man. I'm going under. If we're looking at their schedule, I mean, it ain't difficult. But I mean, other teams improve too. That's a lot of wins for a team with this many questions with a new head coach. Okay, you start off with the Colts, you get the Saints, then you get Dallas, you get Tennessee, Atlanta, Cleveland, Cincinnati. So you got a good start, a good chance to start well. Then you get Buffalo, tough. Jacksonville, they're gonna be a tough team this year. Chargers, Carolina won their division last year. Tough Houston defense. Then you get Tampa, always tough. Pittsburgh. Then you finish off with the division teams: Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. I don't see 12 wins. 11, 10, maybe. I'm going under.
Yeah, I'm going under too. I can see them between 9 and 11 wins. I just don't. I think that John Harbaugh loss, man, might come into play with this team, man, because you don't know what Mike Minter is he gonna have that same tenacity with this team as far as playing well, and then what happens when the mistakes start to happen? Can he rally these guys to be Super Bowl contenders, man? I do like the roster, but it's just that offensive line is going to come into play. Are they going to be as good on the offensive line as they have been in previous seasons? And can Lamar Jackson stay healthy? Because now it's going to be a lot more on this plate. And if eyes were on them before, they're definitely going to be on them now, because now you don't have the John Harbaugh excuse. You don't have the Greg Roman excuse anymore, or the offensive coordinator they had last year excuse anymore. This is your roster, your team, your show. It's all on that guy with the thumbs up in the picture, man. So we gonna see. But I got them under, man. I don't have them as a bad team, but they're definitely not getting the 12 wins, in my opinion, for sure. But we'll see, man. And those rookies are gonna have to show up for them. Seriously.
Yeah. But they still do got Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Roquan Smith, Trey Henderson, Cal Hamilton. A lot's going to depend on health, too, with this Ravens team, because if they start getting injured, which all teams do, and start getting some key injuries, and some of these backups got to come in, I don't think you had the depth that you had in previous years. Unless some of their rookies pop, they did have a strong draft class, so we shall see, but 12 wins is too much. They might struggle this year, to be honest with you. I could see them struggling.
Yeah,
I could also see them, being, at least a decent team. So that's why I'll hold what I said around that 10 win, 10, maybe you push 11 if they start off strong. But that's that one, and we about to hit the next preview, man. So y'all stay tuned. All right, back here with the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals, another disappointing team last year. A lot of people had them up there, as Super Bowl contenders. But Joe Burrow hurt. He missed time. Of course, Dax Hill, season in the injury. Cameron Taylor-Britt, Mike Gesicki, a lot of injuries. But what was hurt was their pride and their defensive pride. That 31st ranked defense, man, it was absolutely abysmal. So it ended up in a 6-11 record for the Bengals. Like I said, disappointing. They bring back the coach. They bring back the quarterback. I like to lead with those two positions because, those are normally the leaders of the team. So Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow back. But it was a disappointing year last year. The Bengals could score, though. Scored 414 points, 24.4 points per game. But they allowed 28.9 points per game and allowing 492 points. So I think that's kind of where you need to start as we get into their offseason preview. But what are your thoughts about what they did last year, Pat?
Last year was the very down year for the Cincinnati Bengals. This team has Super Bowl hopes as well. Joe Cool got hurt. And that defense, man, their pride is just, man, that's some of the worst defense I've seen in a long time last year from them, bro. Like, a lot of those dudes, man, like, why are they getting paid? That Bears game especially was just the epitome of trash defense with this organization, and it's been like that for a little while. And I think you put too much pressure on Joe Cool. He's starting to break down. He had a unique wrist injury. Now he got a toe injury. He had an ACL. He hurt pride. Like, he's just hurt. So you're gonna have to see what you're gonna do with this team to help out Joe Burrow. Besides just giving him 2 major receivers. That's cool. They're going to put up points. But Cincinnati fans, I know you got to be tired of seeing games where you score 38 to 40 points and still lose. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. You score 42, the other team scores 45. You score 38, they score 42. You score 45, they score 52. Like, come on, man. Like, it's ridiculous over there. This last season is just the Bengals. That's all I got. The Bengals.
Yeah, man.
I told people they were gonna be frauds last year.
Yeah, we both had that feeling, man. I think we did it on the preview show last year that we did. But let's see what they did this year, though. Let's see if they, they can get some things together and improve on some of these ranks. Of course, the biggest one being the defensive rank of 31st. And folks, that is one from the bottom. All right, so big additions. Dexter Lawrence. Now, your boys over here are much familiar with Dexter Lawrence II, as he is a former New York Giant. And they traded a first-round pick, number 10th overall, to the Giants to get Dexter Lawrence in here because that defense was so dang on bad. They also added Jonathan Allen, someone you can put besides Dexter Lawrence to help with that run defense. Boy Mafe should give them some edge rush help, some pass rush help. They got Cal Duggar, Brian Cook, Jasir Taylor, and Josh Johnson.
How's that dude still in the league, bro?
Unbelievable. Absolutely believable. Absolutely unbelievable. But it's believable.
That dude got, bro.
Unbelievable. And yeah, he's on the roster. I just wouldn't check just to confirm. But amazingly. But what are your thoughts about the free agent additions before we get into some of their departures?
I like the Dexter Lawrence pickup, but I just think they gave up too much. And shout out to y'all, man. Thank you. Turned into our guard that we got, CC. So thank you. But Dexter Lawrence should be a good player for them. I like the Jonathan Allen pickup to pair them together. Boy, in my fan, he's not the greatest to me. I've seen him play. He's no world beater. You got Kyle Duggar and Brian Cook. Okay, that's decent. Jasir Taylor, I don't think he's going to be any better than what they had already. And Josh Johnson, hopefully he doesn't have to play. Hopefully Joe Coop can be healthy for the rest of the season. But as far as the distance, yeah, old man Joe, he was balling last year, man.
Flacco too. Yeah.
Old man Flacco, but I'm not overly excited about what they did. Just to be honest with you. But I do like the Wonder Twins at defensive tackle and Jonathan Allen and Dexter Lawrence. I think those are going to be two very good additions to trying to stop that run. And Brian Cook I'll give Brian Cook his respect. He's a good safety. So hopefully he can hold that back end for those guys this season.
Yeah. I honestly think the Bengals are trying to build their defense to beat their division, which is a run-first division. So, you get two big guys up in the middle right there. Boy Mafe, I don't know, maybe he can give you some run stopping presence if he's not that great of an edge rusher, and we'll talk about their draft too, but we got to talk about what they lost, because I think this is, if you're talking about net, I think it's a net in the loss department here, as far as them losing more than what they gained. Because Trey Hendrickson, man, I mean, he goes over to your division rivals of all places. Cam Taylor-Britt, Jake Browning, Tyson Anderson, Joseph Osai goes to the Jets. You lose two guards, Cordell Volson and Lucas Patrick, and then Geno Stone to the Bills. I think Trey Hendrickson but like I said, maybe it's the fact that they want to build more towards their division So, you get one of the better edge rushers in the league and you flip him basically for more or less for 2 defensive tackles. So I don't know. Like I'm not crazy with the departures. I think Trey Hendrickson is going to be a big one right there.
Well, Bengals fans, I'm with you, man. What's the biggest thing that you guys need on this team? Which is defense and trenches. And guess what? Every offseason, you lose trenches. You lose both your best edge rushers in Joseph Asai and Trey Hendrickson. You lose your best corner at Cam Taylor-Britt. You lose 2 guards who I think were playing for you guys, if I'm not mistaken, and Bolton and Lucas Patrick. Yeah. You lose Geno Stone in the back end. Like I don't get these guys, bro. I don't get these guys. And Dexter Lawrence and Jonathan Allen are good, but are they going to be able to get to the quarterback to stop them from being able to scan the whole field and attack your DBs? No. Just going to keep it a buck. Are you going to use Dexter Lawrence the way he's supposed to be used as the nose tackle? We'll see. But I can't. I'll be honest with you. They become one of them teams I can't stand because I like Joe Cool. And Joe Cool, one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best in the league when he is on his game. When that dude is on his game, he can get out the pocket, he can scramble, he can throw that ball with the best of them. But you got to keep him healthy, and this is not keeping him healthy, bro. I'm a little bit disappointed in what they did as far as free agency.
Yeah, I just feel like that they're putting a lot of pressure on Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah,
to change that defense and make that defense good, but you didn't give him a whole lot of help.
You took help from him.
You see what I'm saying? Like him and Trey Hendrickson would have been dope,
right?
but like, see what I'm saying? That's
a rival.
That's all I'm saying. That's I'm not even that big on it. Okay, you give it the 10th pick. You saying you a Super Bowl type team and you ain't, and that's that 10th, what they say, what the Knicks people say, F them picks or whatever. Okay, if you one of them type of teams, cool. I'm not. I love the draft and I'm never going to just give away picks. But okay, if that's the case, I can't be mad at that. But why not try to work it out with Trey Hendrickson and get him back on the team? You see what I'm saying? Instead of just letting him walk because you want to be cheap, don't want to pay him, but then you give Dexter Lawrence money and it's like, all right. But moving on to the draft, that's my Bengals rant. I ain't trying to get on the Bengals fans, but it's a little puzzling which y'all are building over there. I'm trying to think you building a team to stop your division, but then you don't got a lot of edge presence. But they get Cassius Howe with the second round pick because they didn't have a first. Then they go get Takario Davis with the 3rd round pick, Connor Lew, center. So you trying to build up your trenches there. Kobe Young, Byron Parker II, Jack Indries, and Landon Robinson, defensive tackle, in the 7th round. I'm not crazy about this draft. It's okay. But I don't know if you did enough because you were 6-11. Let's keep it a buck, and the Ravens and Steelers didn't sit on their butt. They went out and made moves. So did they really do enough? We're going to talk about it, man. But what do you think about their draft? I do like the Cassius Howe pick, but what do you think about the draft?
I like Cassius Howe, but you putting a lot of pressure on him to come in and be the guy. Because Boye Mafe is not the guy. Yeah. Hopefully Cassius Howe turns out to be pretty good. I think he can. Takario Davis, who's developing the defensive players because he's a big 6'4", 6'3", 6'4" corner out of Washington. But who's developing these guys? Nobody. No. That's all I can say. No, nobody on that list. No, that's all I can say, bro. Like I'm starting to get tired of this team. Like seriously, bro. You are wasting Joe Cool and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You should have let T. Higgins go and brought in defense.
Yeah. They should have freed that
Go
money
and
up.
brought in defense, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But
Definitely could have freed that money up and actually paid Trey Hendrickson and traded for Dexter Lawrence. Like, what would that look like? You know what I mean? Like, and then you bring in some of these other guys to fill out your roster. But nah, you don't have that now. So, but anyway, let's see what their projection is going into the 2026 season. And they got them at 10.5 is the over-under for the Bengals. Biggest strength, elite passing attack. Of course, we already know that. Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. But that feels like that's all they got. Biggest weakness, defense, of course. Defensive consistency, stopping explosive plays. Did you do enough? Most important players, they tried to put Trey Hendrickson there, but I crossed it out because you just down to 3 important players now. Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. And if you want to put Dexter Lawrence up there, cool. It's a lot of pressure on him too because they gave up the 10th overall pick for him. And don't let that guard for the Giants look like anything. And you over there struggling. Woo-wee. It's going to be rough. But 10.5, I'm going under. I'm very underwhelmed with this ball club right here. They're going to put up points, but who you stopping?
I'm totally agreeing with you. Under. I got them maybe 8, 9, 7, 10. Just like I said last season. Everybody, they could be Super Bowl. No, because all you have is Burrow, Chase, Higgins. Burrow, Chase, Higgins. Look at the list. Burrow, Chase, Higgins. Burrow, Chase, Higgins. That's all you got. And if one of them gets hurt, your season's done. Your season's done every time.
I see them as like an 8-9 win team, to be honest with you. Looking at the schedule,
and that's if Joe Burrow is healthy.
Yeah, they got Tampa, Houston, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville to start out. 4 pretty tough games. Then you get Miami, then you get Baltimore, Tennessee, Atlanta, Pittsburgh again, Washington, New Orleans, Cleveland, Kansas City, Carolina, the Colts, Baltimore, Cleveland. Now, if they think they can beat up on Cleveland, all right, cool. But I'm not sure you better than the Baltimore Ravens or the Steelers. And again, you still got to stop the other team. It's not all about offense. And until this team gets that, I don't see them being Super Bowl contenders. And 11 wins is too high for me. So I'm saying maybe 8-9 wins because the schedule ain't tough. So you're going to win some games. You're going to beat up on some bad teams. But if they do happen to sneak into the playoffs, I don't see this as a Super Bowl contending team. Put it like that. ESPN might give y'all that and NFL Network or whoever, but I don't see this as a Super Bowl contending team. I don't think they improved enough to get there, even though, they did make some additions, but you lost people too. So I don't think it was a net positive for them. And these guys get hurt. Joe Burrow gets hurt a lot. I don't think your coach is that great. It's a mid team, it's an average team, and average teams win about 7, 8, 9 games in the NFL. That's where I see them. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because the schedule easy. I give them 9 wins. What you got?
Like I said, between 7 and 9 wins. That's exactly where I got them too. And like I said, this team is just disappointing. And maybe they can prove me wrong, but no, I don't see them get nowhere near 11 wins, bro. because of the way that this team is built. It's straight offense. And like you said, they're going to beat up on some bad teams, because they can score points. So they might beat them 38-20, 38-28, somewhere through there. But I don't see them beating the Steelers, and I don't see them beating the Ravens at all. Now, they could beat up on the Browns, but other than that, no.
Yeah. We're going to talk about them Browns, though, man. And that is the final team coming up here in our AFC North preview. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that join button and become a member of the Aboriginal Sports Network. Only a $3, a little something. So ain't nothing too rough at your pockets, but it supports the brothers and helps us do things that we want to accomplish to give you better content. It's all about you, the fans and the people. But let's get back to it, and let's get on with the final team of this preview. All right. Back here with the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, it has been rough, as it normally is for Cleveland Browns fans. It has not been a good go. Team missed the playoffs again, 5-12. And I mean, it wasn't a whole lot of injuries. Just Deshaun Watson, but it was just bad football, particularly on the offensive end, and that is where they were the 31st ranked team, and 31st in points per game. Shedeur Sanders got his shot. He showed signs, I guess, but still didn't show, I guess, everyone around the league that he's the answer. And those are the questions here. Once again, at the quarterback position for the Browns, Kevin Stefanski, that is, he was on the proverbial hot seat for a few years now, and they finally let him go. We're gonna bring in your boy Todd Monken, so they get another coaching change. And this Browns team last year, though, they couldn't score points. So, Kevin Stefanski is supposed to be this offensive genius. You couldn't get it done. They didn't have the receivers. They didn't have the offensive firepower. Browns still looking for a quarterback. They drafted 2, signed 2 or 3 last year, and they still don't have an answer. So, and then they make about that was just like, okay. But before we get into that, we got to take a look at 2025. And Pat, how do you feel, or what do you feel? What do you think about the Browns season last year?
Cleveland Browns do Cleveland Brown things. Facts, bro. Cleveland does Cleveland things, man. That's all I can say, bro. Like, this is a team that had 4 to 5 quarterbacks last year, and they still don't have a quarterback. So I don't know what's going on with this team. Shedeur, just survive out there until they figure out what they want to do with you. I don't get it, man. This team is absolutely crazy, and they're just the Browns, man. They do this every year. They get 3 to 4 wins, 3 to 5 wins every year. They might surprise you a year or two, but other than that, it's just Cleveland, bro. It's like Cleveland does not rock. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And then there's Deshaun Watson. I mean, of course, he doesn't play. He's making a gazillion dollars.
All guaranteed, by the way.
It's just like,
this man has been paid to chill.
Yeah, man. Yep. He's doing a lot more than chilling. But anyway, let's get to what they did this offseason, man. They make arguably one of the biggest trades in NFL history and sent Myles Garrett packing. They're all pro sack record leader, all defensive Pro Bowl player. Traded him to the Super Bowl contending Rams and acquiring Jared Verse, and they get some picks. I think they got a couple of first, second, third, something like that. I don't know how that makes you better, but I like Jared Verse. And he's a player that they maybe can develop. They also got Titus Howard from the Texans, tackle, signed Elton Jenkins, Zion Johnson, Quincy Williams, Tylan Wallace, Jack Stoll, and Kalia Davis. So, but I mean, before getting into the other departures, I mean, because I don't think any of the other ones matter. Myles Garrett being traded and flipped for Jared Verse was their biggest addition. So let's just start there, Pat, man. What do you think of and we talked about this, and I said, bro, there's a good chance this dude gets traded sometime in the future. And that future came immediately within the next few days of me saying that. So, I don't know what kind of fortune teller I got whispering in my ear, but something just felt to me like this dude was going to be on the move. But you trade him to the Rams, and it's like, whoa.
You're just trying to give people Super Bowls.
No, and we did the NFC West preview, so check that out. And you strengthen the strength. So, but back to the Browns. What are your thoughts on the move, Pat?
I like the Quincy Williams pickup. Zion Johnson, if he can get back to form, is a pretty good pickup. Jared Verse is a little consolation prize. Hopefully he has his head straight after being traded from the Rams to the Browns. Good God. And Titus Howard, the Texans got rid of him for a reason. Other than that, I mean, they're just the Browns. Myles Garrett was the Browns, and he's no longer there, so good grief. Hopefully Jared Verse can still be on that huge trajectory that he was. I'm sad for him, though, because he had a very good relationship with Aaron Donald, and he was coming along his way with the Rams, turned into a very good player. And then it's Myles Garrett, bro. You got to go. So, this is the Browns, bro.
I don't think it's all hope is lost for this team. But that's tough. That is tough, but you did get something for him. You didn't just let him walk like some teams do. And we'll see what Jared Verse and some of these picks turn out to be. But they also lost Wyatt Taylor, Jerome Ford, Devin Bush, Mohamed Dadabe, and Cameron Thomas. Not Cam Thomas, formerly of the Nets, but Cameron Thomas, who signed with the Falcons, defensive end. And you lose your coach. Kevin Stefanski fired, Todd Monken in, and Todd Monken is a character, but I think he can be a good head coach for the Browns if he's not just there for the money. Todd Monken is featured on the money out of pocket a lot. That's why I say that. He's a character, but sometimes that can be a good thing. Sometimes that can be a bad thing. What are your thoughts about what they lost And what are your thoughts about Todd Monken before we get into the draft?
I will say Todd Monken will be on the money out of pocket in the future as well. You lost Myles Garrett, probably the best player in the league. You lost your best guard in Wyatt Teller. You lost Jerome Ford, but they got a bevy of running backs. You lost your best linebacker in Devin Bush. Hopefully Quincy Williams can come in and pick up where he left off. Muhammad Diabate was very good, and Cameron Thomas was very good for him. So I think they lost more than that they gained when it just comes to free agency. But yeah, they're gonna have to figure out the whole Myles Garrett thing. And their offensive line, which is not great, lost their best offensive lineman. So I don't get it. I don't get it. Devin Bush showed that he was very good, and you just let him walk. Yeah, he lost a lot of trenches too. Both these teams, the Bengals and the Browns, seem to lose a lot of trenches every year. And it's not the bad guys; it's the guys that were actually good that let leave.
Let go, yeah.
It's weird, crazy. Bro.
Yeah. But I mean, they did pick up Spencer Fano in the draft, so you get you a tackle there, who I think can be good if developed. Then you get Casey Concepcion. I like this pickup here. Pick 24. They had 2 first-round picks. The Browns did, so they are a team rebuilding and building for the future. So that is kind of the approach you got to take, because I don't know about competing for anything right now if you're the Browns, but we'll see. We'll get the outlook here in a second. Denzel Boston, wide receiver, who you like, Pat. We also like the safety, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo. So those first 4 picks, man, they got an opportunity to come in and make an immediate impact for the Browns. Then they get another offensive tackle, Austin Barber from Gilscott, Florida, and then Parker Braceford, center out of Alabama. Then Justin Jefferson, not that Justin Jefferson, the linebacker out of Alabama. They get him in the 5th round. Then they get Joel Royer, tight end out of Cincinnati. Taylon Green, quarterback out of Arkansas. So another quarterback added to the mix. Good God Almighty. And then they pick up another tight end with the 7th round pick, Carson Ryan out of BYU. Love this draft. They knocked it out the park here. The Browns did. They're gonna need these guys to come in, develop, and play immediately. Get that experience immediately, because this team is not a team that has the ability to stash any picks. These guys are gonna be out there right away, and we're gonna see, how good some of these kids are. But I love especially those first 4 picks. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is why it's not all bad with Cleveland. I think they did a hell of a job with the first 7 picks. Spencer Fano, very good. Casey Concepcion, very good. Denzel Boston, very good. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, very underrated. Should have been a 1st-round pick. Austin Barber, offensive tackle out of Florida. I think they do have a chance to have some very good tackles if you get them developed. Parker Brailsford, the center from Alabama, very good pickup. Justin Jefferson, very good pickup. And Joe Royer, actually a pretty doggone good tight end from Cincinnati, huge. So yeah, I think they did their thing with this draft. And if they develop, a lot of those guys are going to be making some plays for them in the future here. Now, I will give the Browns that. They did a hell of a job with this draft. Like, this draft is awesome. Like an awesome draft. So that can save them towards the future if they get those guys developed. Because if all those guys can develop to become what they're supposed to be, that's a good core. That's a damn good core.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. So hopefully Todd Monken and them can get it together and get those guys coached up. And in a year or two, maybe 2-3 years, maybe they they might be making some noise with that draft class. That's an excellent draft class.
Facts, bro. So let's see what that future looks like. And that future is coming right now and in the form of their 2026 outlook. 6.5. Got them at 7-10. Okay, so an improvement there off of their 5-12 record last year. Saying the biggest strength is young offensive upside. Agreed. And improved skill position explosiveness. Agreed. Biggest weakness, quarterback uncertainty and overall roster consistency. Most important players, of course, Shador, Jerry Jeudy, Quinshawn Judkins, Mason Graham, and Denzel Ward still over there. Of course, in those draft class pieces that they added will, I believe, play an important role this year for them. But 6.5 wins for the Cleveland Browns. Whoa, bro. I don't know. 7 wins for the Browns, 8 wins for the Browns. Under. I got them at 6. Because they got some games they could get on this schedule. Because a team like Cleveland, they're a team, Pat, they bring you down to their level, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be able to muck up the game, so to speak. You know, and they may beat some teams because they still got some decent pieces on defense. Mm-hmm. You know, you got Jared Verse, you got Graham, they got Quincy Williams from the Jets. You still got Ward, Grant Delpit. You still got, like you said, they drafted Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Mm-hmm. So you know you got a couple pieces in your secondary. You know you got a couple pass rushers. You know, it ain't gonna be like it was with Garrett, obviously, but you know these guys, Julian Orqua, Mike Hall, you got Alex Wright. Got a couple dudes in there that may have some potential. I think this is going to be a hard-nosed defense. And I think offensively, man, you got guys like Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. If they come in and make an impact for you right away, which a lot of receivers do, you still got Jerry Jeudy. So, I mean, but I'm going to still go under 6.5. But I think they can win a couple games this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get to that 7-10 record based off the draft that they had, because Jerry Jeudy is not your number 1 player anymore, number 1 receiver anymore. He's a third. If he's that. Quinshawn Judkins, your boy, he was nice last year. Like he was getting it done. Mm-hmm. If they run the ball, sir, and utilize those young receivers and let that defense mucky up the game, you can see these guys pull out a couple of wins that they ain't supposed to. And you're going to have to decide, is Shador Sanders your guy? If he is, let him be the guy.
I hope they don't go in there and put Deshaun Watson in there. I got to say that, man, before we wrap this thing up, man. No, let Shador... If you ain't gonna let him play, at least let Dylan Gabriel get some snaps or something. You need to see your young talent. We want to put Deshaun Watson in there. What he gonna do for you? Is he you think he gonna win you games? Huh?
I'm gonna say the best case scenario for these guys is to let Shador Sanders play with this core and see what he got, because I think that kid can pull out some victories for you. Yeah. Seriously, if you protect him and allow him, now he got some guys that he could depend on, because he was throwing some strikes last year and Jerry Jeudy was just dropping the ball. And remember, they still got that tight end, even though they let that JUCO go. They still got that other tight end too, who was killing it.
Yeah, Harold Fannin Jr.
Yeah, Harold Fannin, and he already has rapport with most of these guys. So if that defense can give you anything this year, which they always do, Even though they lost Myles Garrett, I still think they'll be a good defense.
Yeah.
They can win some games, man. And I wouldn't be surprised. They're going to be right there between that 5 to 7 wins, I believe. But the Bengals better watch out. I'm going to be real with you. Because they mess around and they don't put up 30 points against this team, I think they lose.
I don't think the Bengals are sweeping them. I don't
think they are either.
I think they're going to get a game against the Bengals, and they might get a game against the Ravens.
Yep. Real talk.
You know what I'm saying? I think the Steelers are just too consistent on both sides of the ball. But I'm under with the Browns. You under with the Browns, but we think they can be competitive.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wrap this thing up, man. And let's just get an overall outlook of this division, man. And bro, this division it's not as good as I thought it used to be. You know, I think they've lost two big coaches, Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin. You got questions with Lamar now and what he going to do in Baltimore, and then Pittsburgh, they still got a quarterback question. Cleveland still has a quarterback question. So that to me is kind of like, I don't know. Most people will probably pick Baltimore to win this division, and I think I'm there, but I would not be surprised if the Steelers win it, because they look like they might just be the most overall consistent team when you put all of the pieces together. Even though they got a new head coach too, you know, that coach has familiarity with the quarterback. So Lamar, he has great regular seasons, but the playoffs have been a problem. I'm gonna still say Baltimore gets it, but by a hair. I think Pittsburgh gonna be right there, and I think both of them. I don't think neither one of these are no 12, 13 win type teams. I think they both mid at best, contending but mid. Like, I don't really see you pushing for no Super Bowl, even Baltimore. Now that we put it all together, but I think they're still gonna be pretty good. I think Pittsburgh gonna be pretty good, but I give a slight edge to Baltimore. Cincinnati, don't trust them, and Cleveland is rebuilding. What you got, man? Overall for this AFC North,
I got the Steelers winning this AFC North.
Okay.
I just think they're the best team in this division, and I don't think it's close. I think they win this division at 11-6. The Ravens might be 9-8 or 8-9. The Bengals 7, maybe 8-9. I think 7-10. I think the Browns come up 6-11, or maybe 5-12 again, or they may be 7-10 and competing with the Bengals for the last spot in that division. But I think the Steelers win this division easily this year. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I don't think that Ravens team is gonna be like they were. I don't know, man. Unless Lamar Jackson turns back into Superman and he just has an MVP type season, I don't see the Ravens doing anything, bro. I don't.
Okay. I can see that happening, and I definitely ain't mad at your pick with the Steelers. I just think the Ravens have a talented roster still. They did lose some pieces, but they still got a lot of talent on there. They added some pieces in the draft, so I think they're gonna still be pretty good. But I don't think they're gonna be no Super Bowl contenders. I'm right there with you. I don't think any of these teams are Super Bowl contenders.
No,
to be honest with you. So, but that's all we got for the AFC North, man. Catch us on the next round, on the next preview show. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. And, man, we up out of here, man.
All right. Peace.
Peace.